I'm Mark.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Comics Are Awesome, brought to you by Alter Ego Comics, where we talk about the comics that we like the most each and every week. This week, my pick is Batman number 60 by Tom King and Mikel Janin. We also get an additional artist on this issue, somebody Flores. I went to high school with a kid whose last name was Flores.
I wonder if it's the same guy.
I don't think it's him, though. Oh, come on, man. Where's the credits page?
There is no... It's DC. There's no credits page.
Credits page. There we are, 5 pages in. Jorge Fornes. Oh, Flores was what I was thinking. Fornes. So, let's start over. This book is by Tom King, Mikel Janin, and Jorge Fornes. So, this Penguin story arc has been really phenomenal. It's proving to be... I think it's laying the groundwork for some... You're not reading it,
I am reading it.
You are reading it. Okay.
That's the one Batman book I am reading.
Okay, I think it's laying the groundwork for an epic tale of Batman's destruction, probably. So Mikel Janin is doing the artwork on the non-Batman parts of the book, and then we get Jorge Fornes, who is doing a really good impression of David Mazzucchelli from Batman Year One. I'll put it there, since we're doing that now, apparently.
Did that end the camera cover?
Yes. So the Penguin is an ally of Batman at this point against Bane, who is secretly running Arkham Asylum, despite the fact that none of the higher ups at Arkham seem to be aware of this, and Jim Gordon is not aware of it, and this has fractured the relationship between Batman and Commissioner Gordon, so much so that Commissioner Gordon smashes the bat signal in this issue, very much like he did at the end of The Dark Knight. So Batman looks like a crazy person. He's basically running around Gotham and beating up bad guys, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on at Arkham, and no one is spilling the beans. We get an interesting and disturbing look at who the Penguin's wife actually is, and a last page reveal, which is going to have significant ramifications, I think, in the Bat books. Actually, this week, Tom King tweeted out his plans for the next 100 issues, I believe, of Batman. I believe that this is supposed to go to, I want to say 160, or maybe it's 106. I think he's got 106 issues plotted out. And he's got the various story arcs already plotted out. He listed those on Twitter, so you can go back and hit Twitter and find that tweet from, I think it was Tuesday night or Wednesday. But bottom line is, Batman continues to be the best book that DC is publishing month in and month out. Tom King is telling exciting stories. The artwork fits the stories very well. Batman is excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was my pick.
Yeah. My pick, did you end up reading this or not?
No.
Okay. X-Men, The Exterminated, number 1, by a bunch of people. There's actually 2 stories to it. The main writers are Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler.
Sure. Nadler.
And the backup story was written by Chris Claremont. So,
that guy.
Yeah, he's known for stuff. So, if you've been following the Extermination, has to deal with, I guess, it's not really a spoiler with the first, it's what, 4 issues out of 5?
It's been out for a while.
Cable dies. He's murdered, he's shot down. We don't know who at first. We found out later on who it is, which is kind of weird. It's murder-suicide sort of thing. Time travel. It's weird. But this is the fallout of that, following Jean Grey and Hope Summers. So the grandmother, granddaughter that are roughly the same age, it looks like, running on an adventure. And it's dealing with them clearing out Cable's old stashes of weapons and everything, and trying to make sure that it doesn't fall in the wrong hands. And the first stash, of course, they run into Deadpool, because Deadpool needs to be in everything that is involved with Cable. That's just, they're attached at the hip, sometimes. But yeah, it's really fun seeing them bond together of, like, oh, I didn't really know you because you're dead, or you just didn't exist when I was alive and now I'm back. And it's really cool to see the play between the two of them, how they're very similar powers, and seeing their relationship, viewing Cable as a different person. Like, oh, he's my father, he's my mentor, he trained him, versus, no, he's my son, he's just a little kid, never really got to see him grow up or anything, and it just was really cool. And the backup story takes place during, like, the very beginning of Nathan, when Madeline and Cyclops were on a camping trip, it appears, and like it shows the dynamic between the fathers along his family, how they don't really get along and hang out, and they don't parent very much. But that was a quick, short little story, and it was kind of touching. It was kind of emotional. I didn't almost cry, but I felt feelings. So
in your stomach.
It might have been the food I had before.
Yes, indigestion.
Indigestion. But yeah, it was a fun, good read, and you don't have to have read Extermination, other than just knowing, hey, Cable dies. And you can read this, and it was a fun one-shot that had 2 parts, and it was pretty good. So it was my pick of the week.
Next up for me is a book called Die, not to be confused with Die, Die, Die. This book is just one die and refers to an actual die that you roll, like in an RPG, like D&D, and that is the premise of the book. This is written by Kieran Gillen, artwork by Stephanie Hans, and involves a group of friends in high school that play the ultimate RPG. It's a game that a kid comes up with. I guess he's got a group of friends that play D&D, and he decides on his best friend's birthday to kind of create an adventure that is like no other, and they get more than they bargained for. We really don't know what happens, but they're gone for 2 years. So they disappear after playing this game for 2 years, and one of the friends does not return. Flash forward 25 years later, and the group is back together again for a variety of reasons, and they might possibly get sucked back into the RPG verse that they played when they were in high school. So it has hints of Stranger Things. If you like Gillen's writing on The Wicked and the Divine or any of the other stuff that Kieran Gillen has written, he writes great stuff. He does a lot of research into his material before he writes it. In fact, there's talk of making the actual game that they play in Die available, whether it's as supplemental material in the back of future issues or as a standalone RPG. Who knows? But there's the possibility. Stephanie Hans' artwork is outstanding. This book is a must-read for those of you that like fantasy and good stories, and I dug the heck out of it. Did you read it?
I did. I read it this morning, actually, and it was, yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the dice that are in it.
Because they look like metal dice?
And the single dice, which the one girl constantly says, oh, it's a dice. Like, no. It's just the single form is a die.
It's a die.
And they just like how they hammered that joke in. And it was fun.
I'm looking forward to it. It's good.
Yeah. My next pick is Prodigy #1 by Mark Millar. Millar is the correct pronunciation. Is how we're to pronounce it?
It's Miller.
Okay. I'm calling Millar because I don't say your names properly. And Raphael Albuquerque. So
this is about that that techno band in the 90s?
Yeah. No.
Smack my That's Prodigy, right? You're too young. Were you even alive then? No.
Moving on. So this follows starts as a kid and grows up, and he is the smartest person ever, I would say. Like, he reminds me of Prodigy from the Marvel Universe, that if he sees something, he can master it, and between Prodigy and Taskmaster, really, from that standpoint.
And Echo.
And yeah, all the people that are just super smart and don't really have anything else. But yeah, it follows him, starting out with, he was playing polo and then got beat up. He's like, well, enough of that. I'm going to watch a bunch of
Bruce Lee,
Jackie Chan, like
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I'm just going to watch all those for like an hour for each one, and then I'll just beat up everybody else. So that sets the groundwork of how he can just memorize and learn whatever he wants. So then jumps forward where he's a grown adult. He's like, oh, yeah, I can do whatever I want, and I'll save whoever I want if it's interesting enough. Otherwise, I'll just ignore it. And he's he's so smart, he gets bored very easily with anything, so he just multitasks everything. It's like, oh, well, I'll just do this while I'm working on that. And at one point, he's playing 8 or 9 games of chess all at once, and while
working on something else.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a fun thing where it's just him being smart, doing awesome stuff, and just, yeah. And there's some sort of, it's following a brand new case that he's going to recover and try to solve, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes. If it actually challenges him, or if it'll be like, oh, this is just another one-off, keep doing more random stuff.
I really liked it. I do have some concerns, though. Apparently he doesn't sleep.
Yeah, he hasn't slept
in like months.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't need to sleep. He mastered that.
Humanly possible, so I'm beginning to wonder whether he's actually human. Number 2, there are hints, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, that another of Miller's creations may be part of this story. We'll see,
it doesn't have the
maybe.
Millerverse tag or anything on it.
Yeah, it is.
Does it?
It's all the stuff is Netflix. There's a big ad on the back.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. So yeah.
And those are my concerns. My biggest concern is that he's not sleeping. He's also very kind of egotistical, but I think he does have a good heart. But he is also kind of like, he knows he's the smartest person in the room.
He reminds me of Arno from
Iron Man. Yeah,
where he's a super genius.
But it's really good, folks. It totally should be checked out. And if only for the fact that it reunites the team from Huck. So we have Mark Miller and Raphael Albuquerque back together again on a new Miller World series.
And we should get Hulk Volume 2. That's all I'm saying.
Supposedly it's going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
There are some variant covers coming up that caught my eye that feature all of the Millerverse characters on the cover.
That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool. From the category of I expected not to like this book, we have Winter Soldier, #1, by Kyle Higgins and Rod Reese. Now, Mark, you say, do we really need a Winter Soldier book? And
yes.
My answer is no, we really don't need a Winter Soldier book. He's more of a supporting character than a main character.
If it's good, we deserve one.
Yes, but if it's good, then that's fine. And it is a miniseries, I believe. I think it's a 5-issue miniseries. And really the thing that forced me to read it is Kyle Higgins, because Kyle Higgins is an excellent writer. I've enjoyed a lot of what he's done before. His creator-owned stuff. He's also written the Power Rangers books, which I haven't read, but many Power Rangers fans seem to really enjoy them. I'm drawing a complete blank on what else Kyle Higgins has written at this point. I will just throw images up on the screen to fill the gaps in my brain. But this turned out to be the surprise of my week, in that I really enjoyed it. And the Winter Soldier is acting more like the Equalizer or the A-Team, for those of you that are old enough to remember those two shows.
Remember the A-Team.
Or you've seen the Denzel Washington Equalizer movies based on the 1980s TV show starring Edward Woodward. I'm filled with useless information.
The A-Team movie you can skip. Just watch the original
You can skip,
series.
unless you're really bored.
Just watch the original series.
Yes.
It's not the same.
No. So he is helping those that want to reform, that want to get back on the good path. Kind of, through no fault of his own, Bucky Barnes became a weapon of evil and killed a lot of people. And once he was saved, he is now on the side of the angels. So he's helping people get to that point. They reach out to him through some underground method.
That is properly vetted.
Yes. Now he's working with Sharon Carter and Tony Stark, who make appearances in the book. It's nice to see that he's got a support system there. And I really enjoyed it. It's almost like a witness protection program where he's bringing taking these people out of a troubled life and giving them a new life, very similar to the witness protection program. But it turns out that he might have some trouble because there might be someone who kind of looks like Bucky, and Bucky as a lad,
like a version of Bucky.
Yeah, and has idolized Bucky, who may be working for the bad guys. So anyway, Reese's artwork is excellent. Higgins tells a great story. If you don't read comics, and again, I think if any of you out there watching know people that don't read comics but enjoy the Marvel movies, this would be, I think, a great place to send people who are looking for more Winter Soldier. And if you do read comics, I highly recommend picking this one up.
And for me, on a side note, that reminds me a lot of the first story arc that Captain America did, where he's just running around the country, and that's nice to see superheroes outside of just New York City.
Yeah, he's based in Indiana.
Yeah.
Because he can it's very similar to where we are in Lima, Ohio, where we can get to Chicago in 4 hours, Detroit in 2 hours, Cincinnati in 2 hours, Columbus in an hour and a half. So being in the Midwest means that he can get lots of places in the United States in under 8 hours or under 5 hours.
And he knows everyone that's in the town that he's in.
Yeah, he's based in the town.
Of the people.
Based in the town that he was born in or grew up in, because he was in New York at some point.
I think that's what he was born in.
Yeah, or maybe it's just the movie-verse Bucky that was in New York. But anyway, don't overlook it as you're hitting the comic book stands this week. You may question it like I did and say, really? But it's worth it.
My final pick of the week is another one that Mark didn't read.
I flipped through it.
And another one that did surprise me also, how I enjoyed it. It is The Best Defense, or I think it's just actually called The Defenders,
I think it's called Namor. What does it say in the fine print?
The Namor, the best defense, number 1.
Yeah.
So
you know what I think of that title?
Yeah.
It should be called Defenders, Namor, the best defense.
Or just Defenders Namor.
Yes. It's a one-shot.
A one-shot written by Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah.
Art by Carlos Magno? I don't know. It would be. I butchered everyone else's name, so it's only fair that I butcher his also.
Just keep going.
Yeah. So this takes place with. I don't know if hopefully you've been reading the Avengers, where Namor has decided, you know what? Screw all you people that are on the land and on the surface. All the water belongs to me now. All the oceans, it's all mine. And this is him building an army to be able to defend all the oceans. And to build the army, he's like, because how many people can he build with just people that are underwater? It turns out there is I'm going to go with tribe of Atlanteans that have fled Atlantis, and he's trying to go find them and then recruit them and convince them to join Atlantis. And of course, Namor, the first thing you think is diplomat. And
soft-spoken,
just a pushover,
reasonable,
cool-headed, or the opposite of all those. And so, of course, when he's like, okay, I'm telling you guys, I'm out of character. I'm trying to be nice, and he's constantly like, I'm trying to be nice, not to be mean. And then all of a sudden, he's like, you know what, screw it, this isn't working. I'm gonna do my thing and try to convince you guys via force. But yeah, it was actually written pretty well with the politics of Atlantis and this other tribe that, if I was paying closer attention, I'd know who they are. But I don't. I'll just say the fake Atlanteans. And yeah, so he's talking to the other king, and the other king's like, oh, the only king that's here is me. I don't know who you are, but I don't care. So he's like, well, all right, you can defend. We'll join you if you do this task, and that may not necessarily happen. So, but yeah, it was cool, and I'm really looking forward to the new Defenders when they start that out. I don't know.
I don't think they are. I think it's just a one-shot.
Are they not going to do some sort of Defenders thing?
No. They may.
Because the ends with to be continued.
Well, because there are 5 total one-shots. This week it's whatever that is, Namor and then Hulk. Next week it's Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer.
That's right.
And then the following week is the Defenders one-shot.
Yeah, the best defense.
Defenders, the best defense. Number 1, but it's a one-shot.
They're all number 1s, because why not?
But all these guys were part of the Defenders back in the day, so that's why they're calling them. And this was pre-Marvel Netflix Defenders.
So I'm looking forward to more of the story with them, because it ends kind of weird.
There is a thread that connects, a thin thread connects all the one-shots.
Yeah, there is like one page for each, at least for the 2 books so far, of something happening. Like, well, that's the same guy that's in this other book. I don't know what's going on with it, but it's just rambling in the middle, like, this happens, moving back on to the story. So it is interesting to see. I imagine that one shot at the end will be hopefully following that.
They should all be together,
fighting whoever that is. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't really care for Namor a whole lot because Imperious Rex, water, breathing, fighting, whatever. But this one was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Finally, for me, I can't pass up talking about Shazam. Shazam, number 1 by Jeff Johns, artwork by Dale Eaglesham. This is excellent. It's Jeff Johns writing a DC character that doesn't get enough love. And he's had a great track record with that, with Hal Jordan, with Aquaman, and the JSA, and now with Shazam. And there's a Shazam movie coming out next year.
Right. It's so what are the odds?
What a coincidence. And this is very much setting a springboard kind of for the movie.
The tone seems to match the trailers in the movie.
Right. So you do get some very brief backstory. Not a lot.
It was like a recap page, but actual comic book panel.
You don't see. This isn't a reboot. This isn't showing Billy meeting the Wizard Shazam and getting his powers, or even the rest of the Marvel family. They're all living in the same foster home. You have Freddy, you have Mary, you have not Streaky the cat, whoever it is. Oh, the bunny that gets powers. So this is definitely a feast for anyone that loves the Marvel family. And there is a big monkey wrench that gets thrown in at the end. So I'm very curious to see where Johns takes this and whether there's a connection between kind of pre-2018 Shazam and where we are now. But yeah, this is a must-read for DC fans, young and old.
And speaking of someone that has never read a Shazam book at all before, I read this, and I thought, yeah, it did a good job recapping of who he is, how he got his power, and I think I'm going to read more of it because I like the character, and I did like one part where they kept him Mar and they just cut away.
Yeah, well, they're trying to get, this is still early in, I guess, everyone's use of powers, so they don't have a name. It's not the Marvel family, and they're trying to come up with a name for the group, and while trying to keep it a secret from their foster parents.
Right.
So it's really solid. Jeff Johns knows what he's doing, and Eaglesham is a pro. He's been working at Marvel and DC for a long time, and his artwork is top notch. So another great overall comic book.
I'm just surprised they didn't draw him a little bit more like Zach Levi.
I'm kind of glad they didn't.
Yeah, I am too. I'm just surprised that it wasn't more like him.
Yeah.
But
and even the backup is top notch. It's kind of the origin of Mary Marvel. Written by Johns, artwork by Mayo Sen-Nato. It's got a very anime manga feel to it. But I loved it. It was great.
It was fun.
Another excellent week for comics. I say that a lot because I'm
true.
really not going to get on here and be like, man, this week sucked.
This week's we'll just sit here for 20 minutes.
Yes. But there's really something for everybody. There's great superhero stuff. There's great indie creator and stuff. We talked about Prodigy and Die. Marvel, DC, both coming out swinging with some great stuff. So head on out to your local comic shop and show them some love. Pick up the comics that you want to take home with you. Pay for them first. And if you like this week's episode, make sure you like, comment, and share. We do read all the comments, and we appreciate your feedback. We appreciate you watching. And we're 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. We're on a roll now.
Yep. Tune in next week, perhaps.
As long as everything goes smoothly.
But we hope hope it does. The holidays, you never know. But if you have any questions, you can post them in the comments, and we'll make sure to get to them. Also, just kind of a parting question for you. What do you want to see out of this show? What do you want us to share with you? What kind of value can we provide as people that work in a comic shop and have a combined 35 plus years of comic book reading experience? Most of that's me, by the way.
I mean, yeah, most of it.
But he knows a lot.
I think they want to see you shave your head on camera.
No. There would have to be a really good reason.
Why
did you have to throw that out there? Because now we're going to get people saying that.
Because if I'm bald, why not you?
They want you to join the hair club for men. That's it. We're getting crazy. We'll see you next week.